The other white meat of European top Zerg players.
True enough. He is that good. But, you know, a bit inconsistent, certainly. We have seen that.
Well,
he has his genius
to his
moments.
standard, right?
Yeah.
He still qualifies for every tournament. He still usually makes it at least halfway through it.
I would think so, yes. He does all right, but he does hold himself to some, as you said, extremely high standards.
Yeah.
Can't blame the guy at all. You know, he was not happy with his BlizzCon performance.
BlizzCon was rough for him, and that was an interesting one too, because on paper it looks way worse. I think he took one map, but his games against TY were really, really good.
Yeah,
and
they
he
were.
put up quite the fight against Stats. I think it was too. No, I think he took a map off of. Anyways, score aside, his games were very good and very close. His results very poor, especially by Snoot standards.
Well, to the southeast position here on Catalyst, we currently have a reigning king of the hill, and has now tied total number of ShoutCraft Kings wins with Innovation. In the red trunks playing Zerg, it is Nurchio versus his opponent and certainly European rival. To the northwest position in the blue trunks playing Zerg, it is Team Liquid Snoot.
And again, I don't know, was that a 12? I didn't see. I don't think so.
It was not a 12, no. It was I believe it was a 14. So, nothing too crazy. He will expand off that. Now, there's not a huge practical difference between hatchery first versus a sort of 14 pull then a hatchery. Hatchery, of course, about 15 seconds difference. Is it enough to execute any kind of rush? No, it's not an all-in, it's not an aggressive strategy. In many ways, it's sort of a stylistic decision. Does allow you to get your queen out slightly faster. Lets you start speed slightly faster. Snoot immediately going 6 lings. So he's certainly going to endeavor to do some damage.
Which is, as you were talking about, TotalBiscuit, kind of an interesting timing for this, because these 6 lings come out, and if you look at the other side of the map, as long as Nurchio doesn't absolutely forego lings himself, which, by the way, is not the standard, it's very normal for him to get 4 to 6 lings himself, and especially start those queens, then these lings don't really accomplish much. What I do think they do for Snoot is they give him the early opportunity to pop in the main and see what's going on. But it's getting a little bit interesting because he's leveraging quite a bit for just that, which is, like, you know, achievable in other ways as well.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And there's 6 lings on the way out for Nurchio, and that's the thing. You know, you can't really surprise Nurchio with these 6 lings, because even if you only just see him, it's like, well, I'll just build 6 lings now then. Or just defend with drones, as we've seen before, even with Sue's 12 pull, that's holdable. And now he knows what's there. You know, Baneling Nest goes down to the back here for Nurchio. Very much defensive one way or the other. We're just going to have to see where this diverges from here. Those lings going to get chased off. Didn't really accomplish much. Did get the full scout. Nurchio, of course, at least kept honest in a way. You know, that's another argument to that. If you don't do that, you just let your Zerg opponent drone and build whatever they like. You're going to force some of that lava, especially early on when injects aren't available, to be used on something that maybe isn't all that useful.
Well, again, to your point, if you look down at the kind of the tab there to see where we're at, same workers, slight army advantage for Snoot. So at the end of the day, it ends up being totally fine and totally normal. Speed does kick in here for Nurchio first. He's going to get in that main base. Maybe pick off a drone or two.
Quite a lot of lings, actually. A surprising number of them. Maybe more than you would have expected. And they do pop out. I think he's, just going to try and catch and shut that down, but his metabolic boost isn't quite ready yet, so that's not going to happen. Out he goes. Baneling Nest placed down for Snoot as well. So, now we enter the I know you've got him, and you know I've got him kind of phase. Are you going to try and make anything happen with that? Or are you just going to play defensively and then choose your tech from here on in? Are you going to attempt to try and expand? Because both players are going to know there's an overlord above each opponent's third. It's not like that can be done secretly or anything. Snoot morphing, Baneling's right in front. That's aggressive and quite frankly risky. So Snoot wants to attack. He doesn't have enough.
Well, there's no overlord in front of the natural of Snoot. His queens push that back early. So I think he's hard selling, hey, I might be getting really aggressive.
I think you might be right.
To Nurchio's credit, by the way, drones coming out, takes his third. he just has an incredible sense of what's going on. And he does see the third for Snoot over there as well, as you pointed out. So it could be that he just knows this matchup so well that he says, you're not capable of having a huge influx of lings right now, probably.
No, I think you're completely right. You know, it was an attempt to sell something that wasn't really happening, and Nurture really didn't bite. Pushed that back without a problem. Now we see some differentiation. You know, we got the Lair started a little bit earlier for Snoot. Evolution Chamber coming up for Snoot, which I believe Nurture does not have one of those. No, yes, he does actually. Never mind. He's gone for the much earlier missile attack. So we'll see some Roaches. We'll possibly see some Ravagers and Banes. Question is, will we see anything else from there? Because we didn't see that massive amount of damage early on in the game that would have meant that one player just automatically wins from this position because he can build 15 more Roaches than the other dude.
Well, almost like a kind of case study on what you were saying at the beginning of this game. Both players started very differently. Snoot with that aggression, Nurchio, you know, much more passive, of course.
Yeah.
And yet here we are. It's like a 3 or 4 supply difference. They're very much so similar across the board. And I agree with what you're saying, too. We're going to see some Roaches and Ravagers because that is the mid game. And both of them have their kind of key upgrades in alignment with each other. Even though Nurchio started that +1 range attack earlier, it's going to be a window of like 20 seconds. And as long as no fighting happens in that time, then it's about the same.
Yeah, won't make too much of a difference. Snoot active on the map, of course. You know, both players kind of active on the map, just wanting information, trying to figure out how much stuff you got. You know, are you posturing to attack? Are you trying to buff up your economy? What is it that you're up to here so that I can directly respond to it? I mean, Zerg's about the most reactionary race you've got, and in a ZVZ, you're going to have to constantly be aware of what your opponent is doing so that you can directly react to it.
Indeed. And we saw some Ling kind of probing. They actually did pick off all the Banelings of Nurchio. Not the biggest of deal, but keep your eye on that as the game progresses, because one of the coolest moves, and we've already seen it earn a couple of these guys $500, is, you know, a cheeky little 12 or 10 Ling counterattack while there's fighting.
Yep.
Pick off the queen, get the drones, and that can actually turn a game on its head.
Yep. Especially as things start to spread out. You know, you take the 4th base, that's a lot of ground to cover. Lings are very fast, and suddenly, before you even realize it, before you even spot it on the minimap, oh, there's Lings in my mineral line. Oh, there's a Baneling in my mineral line. You know, even a pro gamer doesn't necessarily spot that all the time.
Right.
Snoot's gonna posture now on the map. Now, we've got pretty much equal forces from both sides.
Well, yeah, it's pretty equal. The speed upgrade for Snoot is a bigger deal here. Just be able to get into position. He's trying to get this Baneling forward, but it's not getting in.
Yeah, he gets 2 in the middle. Decent connection here, but I think Snoot's going to have to back off here. You know, Defender's Advantage is not going to allow Snoot to break through. He doesn't have the numbers for it. They trade out. Resources lost currently very even on both sides. And economically, also both very even. Just Nurchio almost with that 4th base up. And there's no sign yet of a 4th here from Snoot.
The scary thing about the 4th, too, is that if he waddles a queen over there, that's basically... I'm going to do math on stream. It's like a 25% production increase for Nurchio versus what Snoot has available to him. And there is the 4th base that Nurchio spots immediately going down over there as well. So it's just Snoot 1 step behind. But to your point, it's not the biggest of deals right now. It's even if he saturates it very lightly, which you don't want to do too much more of, by the way. They're at like 60-ish drones each. You don't want to have 85 drones in this matchup because that'll actually lose you the battle, the big fight. But we'll see what happens here.
Yep. Currently Roach Ravager on both sides. Usually what you might see from here is one player might go Infestation Pit. One player also may consider Hydras. You know, that's a very good addition to the back, especially like with +2 ranged. Having Hydralisks in the back is a very potent weapon. Great shot there by Snoot actually picking off an Overlord with the Corrosive Bile. They're both going to have... I mean, there is a window where Snoot's not going to have that +2 missile, but I don't think Nurchio's going to hit it. No, he's showing no signs of wanting to do that. Like, he's just playing defensively, holding onto that 4th, saying, all right, we're good. And as you said, no attempt to really make more drones. Right now, that's a lava generator.
Yeah, it's one of the interesting kind of feeling points, too, because you want that 4th base to get you some money, obviously.
Yeah. But
it's about 66 drones to fully saturate your first 3 bases, but by about the time you take your 4th, as you can see with that main base... Oh, we almost closed on Ravager Snoot there. The main base requires now 10 drones. So
yes, so you can take some off of that. Forth. Yeah. Well, don't want to fight there. That is a nasty place indeed. Ravager count is currently slightly in favor of Nurchio, like not significant. You know, this is going to be a very, very big fight here. Nice corrosive biles there by Snoot. They connect very well. I think Snoot realizes that and thinks, all right, will this give me the edge? Well, currently in terms of numbers, it actually doesn't. Nurchio is continuing to hammer forward and chases this away effectively. That was not a great engagement there for Snoot, despite landing some excellent biles.
Oh man, the supplies were like even, and then they bumped into each other like that. A couple of corrosive biles connected, and the supply just plummeted for Snoot. Nurchio able to take a big advantage there. But if you look at them too, as long as Snoot holds on here and he's down 20 supplies, so it's not by any means the easiest hold.
No.
They both don't really have a bank. They had to spend their banks to get to where they're at right now. So if Snoot can hold, the game will stabilize.
Yep. As much as we talk about the potential of ZVZ being more than Roach Ravager, right now this is about as Roach Ravager as it gets. Snoot actually going for an armor upgrade that Nurchio has actually had this entire time, and I have to wonder how much difference that actually made. It may have made more than you might think. Excellent corrosive biles again from Nurchio as well. Very spread out here, but again, we're in a defender's advantage situation with a great concave here for Snoot. Will Nurchio be able to bring in enough reinforcements to crack this? The Ravagers at the back continue to contribute very, very well to this fight and remain untouched. Nice control here by Nurchio. He's hammering the advantage forward. He's taken some great engagements here, and Snoot is looking like he's out of it. GG.
Couple of beautiful moves there. Snoot tried to get on top of the Ravagers, but in doing so, brought himself inside the teeth of that kind of center mass of roaches, and then that game ends with the corrosive biles canceling out on 4 roaches being made. Now, of course, as we know, 4 roaches weren't going to turn the tide of the battle or something like that, but just ultimately Nurchio doing what he does best, which is amazing micro. He's always been kind of Stefano-esque in his control of roaches.
Yeah, that was really, really great. You know, excellent concaves, using everything to the absolute fullest effect. When we talk about concaves a lot, you think, well, why is that important? Well, it matters because roaches don't have a lot of range, and if you have a large number of roaches, it's really easy for them to ball up and have a bunch at the back that can't actually shoot. So they're not contributing to the fight in any real way. Well, in this case, Snoot was able to, Nurchio was able to make sure that all of his roaches were constantly firing, constantly engaged, and kept his Ravagers alive very, very well, and they were able to land some excellent hits. And hell, you saw a fairly even fight turn the way of one player simply because one player controlled the position better than the other. Simple as that.
Well done. And that's showcasing, too, just the more fun and exciting ZVZ. They both open up very differently. They constantly trying to keep tabs on each other. A lot of micro battles. Did end up with Roach Ravager, but ended in an exciting, explosive way. I'm liking it.
That it did. We're going to take a break, folks. When we come back, our final set of matches. We have 4 more matches for you. Some excellent players still on the docket. And currently, Nurchio is on yet another tear. $2,000 in the bank. Can he surpass Innovation?
Did he not? I thought that last game he did.
I either equaled it or I can't remember one way or the other. Either way, they're both pretty much on the same level right now. Can Nurchio do yet another incredible streak? It would not be the first time he's done it, and it no doubt will not be the last. We'll be right back after the break, folks. Do not go anywhere. The final 4 games of ShoutCraft Kings are coming your way. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ShoutCraft Kings. Jeff, there was something you said you wanted. I'm hoping that this is what you wanted.
Yeah. Me too.
The next challenger, ladies and gentlemen, we had to do it. These guys have been going at each other for a year and a half in this tournament, trying to establish dominance. So, why not let them go straight at it? Let's find out what he can do. It's Innovation.
Very excited. I actually have to relog again because this is so bugging, so I can't say more. It just says entering lobby and never changes.
Yep. So, the situation, it depends if I've miscounted or not, is either Nurchio is currently 1 map ahead of Innovation, or they're currently equal. One way or the other, if Nurchio beats Innovation here, then Nurchio will truly be on top. If not, well, Innovation continues the rivalry that has been going on for the last year and a half. Both these guys have done rather well out of this tournament, I have to say, and they're 2 of the absolute best players we've ever had. Innovation still maintains the longest streak at 10 wins that we've ever had. Although, arguably, Nurchio's was a more impressive one with the caliber of players he was able to beat. It's been a rather turbulent rivalry between these two, but it always produces excellent games.
Yeah. Both have spanned. I think what's really impressive about them too is that they've spanned success a long time. Obviously, you just talked about ShoutCraft Kings, but Innovation and Nurchio have been two of the biggest names in their for their respective races and even areas, Korean versus non-Korean, for a very long time.
Yeah, they have. You know, Innovation in particular, obviously the reigning reigning GSL champion, and some again, you know, they bring up those mentions. Is Innovation the best in the world? Well, you know, he wasn't really able to demonstrate that at BlizzCon. Lately, he has been competing. He did play in the Base Trade Star League, where he lost to, you guessed it, Zest, but it was in the final. So, it will be interesting to see how he adapts to this particular patch.
He also doesn't lack for confidence, which I really enjoy. It's, you know, his interviews, it doesn't really come out, and he's kind of, you almost made fun of for being very unemotive. But
unemotive, yeah.
There's a couple things that he said behind the scenes where he was just talking about, like, yeah, he very much so thought he was going to win BlizzCon. He was very confident about it. Talked about
a lot of us thought that. You know, with his form, most of us were like, yeah, he's a favorite. There's no doubt. Wouldn't have blamed anyone for putting money on the guy, but it just didn't happen. Which,
that's right.
You know, it is the story of Innovation sometimes. Yeah, we know he's that damn good, but every now and again, just doesn't quite have what it takes. Right now, however,
to win the whole thing. I mean,
to win
again,
the whole thing. Yeah, exactly.
It's not like he's doing bad.
No, not at all. But again, Cursed Champion, you know, goes in there as the GSL champion and unable to make it happen. Right now, he faces off against his ShoutCraft Kings rival to the northeast position in the blue trunks playing Zerg. It is Nurchio. He's on a 4-win streak, $2,000 in the bank. To the southwest position, his opponent, the machine himself in the red trunks playing Terran. It's Innovation.
Did you tell both these guys that they're neck and neck?
I think they're aware of it. I think they were chatting about it in the room before that. So,
I know Nurchio's narcissism means that he's listening to the broadcast, which has a delay. So he's aware of it. But Innovation, I don't know, unless you told him.
I didn't mention it. Innovation probably blows like, oh.
I guess, yeah, it probably doesn't.
Probably
he's like,
wouldn't really make much of a difference.
Does that matter to you? Do you care? Is that important to you?
Little fact, by the way, Innovation has more first place wins in Premier tournaments than anyone else in StarCraft 2 ever. So, that's another argument to say he's one of the best. You know, you were mentioning earlier when we were talking about the idea of Bonjour, it's like, well, this is a guy that wins. I personally, you know, I value that consistency that Sue is able to bring to the table. But when Innovation goes on a winning streak, yeah, he looks unstoppable.
Innovation had a streak in Heart of the Swarm, and I'm sure somebody in the chat actually just straight up knows the months, but there's like a 2, maybe 3 month span where I think he won something like 5 major tournaments, and he did so in boring fashion, more so than ever before. Like, he crushed everyone. It was actually really, really bad. It only did last the 2 or 3 months, and of course his winning didn't like cease after that. It's just that in that stretch of time, he was head and shoulders better than everybody else on planet Earth by like just, you know, a mile. It was amazing.
Yeah. Hard to maintain that, but hard to argue with the decision-making of Innovation. Very hard to rattle, although we have seen it happen. There are times when Innovation gets flustered, and it's actually really noticeable, probably because it's so rare to see anything other than impeccable play from him, when suddenly it's like his program freezes, and it's like, error. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, it's got absolutely crazy, but it's so rare that it is an event when it occurs.
Yeah. We'll have to see what, you know, the classic question we've been asking this whole ShoutCraft Kings is, do they bring old stuff or new stuff, or, you know, are they more prepared? So far from Innovation, we're seeing kind of some of the stuff that, well, I mean, this is the MMA build so far, the early Viking, the Hellions coming out.
Yep.
But we're seeing a lot of the same kind of ideas that Terrans had, where they like to kind of go for this 1-1-1 and get out the harass and threaten the Hellbats. Take advantage of a Zerg's mistake, essentially.
Indeed. I like this build. You know, the Viking is great. We've seen just how goddamn dangerous those Overlords can be. Even a slow Overlord drop can do a lot. And Nurchio's proclivity for Nidus Worms as of late is certainly worth keeping an eye on.
The lair's a bit late for that, I think. I'm not like the most scientific about timings and that kind of thing, but I'm just looking at the situation, and there's so many Hellions out already, and he's already in position to make a second thing off that starport. He's not, but I feel like the lair's a little bit late. That being said, though, like you point out, the Roach Horn's already down. There's a lot of Lings coming out. Nah, he's taking his third. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Probably not. You know, but you can leave that around as a threat, see if a player maybe overreacts to it. Tank coming out, you know, this is about classic innovation as you get. Try to find a way in, gets a good shot off on those queens, but he's not going to be able to get in there without taking losses, and he doesn't want to do that. Liberator coming out nice and early. This is what I would have expected out of innovation.
Yeah, he's going to find that third base and kind of probe the timing there. The queens are going to push out. So it is going to be a little bit of an interesting build, by the way, from Nurture. We are seeing Roach speed upgrade and +1 range attack. A lot of players have been going for Hydraling, Baneling. But I say a lot of players, and I'm very specifically talking about pre-patch, so I don't know if that's still a thing that people are going to do or not. But this is a different take, and one of the reasons why Nurchio's had so much success in ShoutCraft Kings is very rarely do you see him do the same thing 2 times in a row. And I say very rarely just to be scientific, because so far, in all these games, he has not done the same thing.
No, he hasn't. He's shook it up in a big way. And against the right kind of player, too. You know, he's definitely playing the player rather than the matchup necessarily, I think, at the moment. It helps when you've played against every player on the planet like 100 times.
That's true. And maybe even in ShoutCraft Kings, he's been here for all of them, basically. Maybe literally all of them?
Not all of them. I think he's missed 2 total.
Okay.
And I think Innovation has also missed 2. So they've stayed pretty equal in that regard. But yeah, otherwise, you know, they're main staples. Now, this is interesting. So you've got Missile Attack upgrade, and you've got Infestation Pit coming out for Nurture. At the moment, Infestors are really damn strong, as people are probably aware. The question is he going to actually build Infestors, or is this to go straight up to Hive? With range upgrade, it doesn't seem like it's for Hive. Let's go to Hydra then.
Could be Hydra Infestor. Yeah, you see the Infestation Pit, Hydra Den. You don't go Hydra and then tech to Hive, I don't think. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. You generally want to start off +1 melee because you're looking for that Ultralisk, but he is going to go to Hive, as it turns out. And he's going for level 2 missile attack upgrade. So, let's see what he does with this. May very well play around with Swarm Hosts. We've seen some popularity with that lately. Yeah,
for mech in particular, yes. Against bio, you don't see that nearly as much, obviously, but it's a new world, TotalBiscuit. I mean, maybe. Why not?
Yep. We don't see, you know, this currently is a Marine tank. No, the Marine production hasn't been cranked up to ludicrous degrees as of yet, but with the armory being added and more barracks and reactors, that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I'm interested to see that. You know, a nice quick Hive. Hydralisks.
I'm at a loss. Well, there's no Spire, so let's just go ahead and say that if he throws a Spire down now, it's like really poorly timed. It's not impossible. You can obviously do it whenever, but you just wouldn't rush to Hive to then make a Spire really late.
Maybe he's looking for Roach, Hydra, Viper, maybe. You know, he just wants to deal with those tank positions, wants to look for the blinding clouds. That seems like a way of doing things.
I think you might be right. Because even an Ultra Cavern doesn't make sense with the upgrades, right? Like
no.
You were talking about?
Yeah, you wouldn't usually do that. You know, if you start Ultra Cavern now, you're starting like from the beginning, really. Yeah. You know, you don't have that melee already up. You've committed to, like, if you commit to level 2 missile, no. You generally don't see Ultra. So, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking Roach, Hydra, Viper here.
I think you're right. I think that's the good call.
How to say Nurture? Sorry, go ahead.
Getting the wall off of the 3rd of the century, by the way. You have to call that. And he can't, actually, by the way. The vents break.
That would be nice. So far, I've got to say, Nurture has done an incredible job of deflecting everything that that Innovation has sent at him. You know, hasn't got hugely aggressive, but he's been trying to find a way in, and, you know, losing these dropships to patrolling Hydras is never what you want.
Right.
Not ideal. Yeah, the Great Wall of Inno right here.
I am
as you can
in
see.
love with this Wallen because it's so shitty. It's
Yeah,
the worst
it is an absolutely terrible Wallen. Yeah, you're right.
He got over there and then was like, oh.
He's actually got to build an Ultra Cavern. Bear in mind, he hasn't even got level 1 ground carapace done yet. He has no melee upgrades of any sort, and he's going level 3 missile. It's unusual to see it done, but...
I mean, you want them for their armor, but I don't disagree with you. It's very interesting to see this, and you were right. He went Viper, so it's not like he didn't, he's foregoing this, but unupgraded Ultras for the most part, kind of interesting.
I wonder if he's just building it as a possible transition later.
No, I bet it definitely adds them.
I mean, he could throw a couple at the front, and with Blinding Cloud, they're going to effectively soak up a lot of damage, allow the roaches to get in range. It could work. Innovation looking to surround that little attack force right there, is able to quickly strafe by it and do it, and there's a nice little yoink. Yeah, that's stuff that you don't want to lose, and in reality, these tanks are actually not very well positioned, and the Great Wall will certainly not be living all that long, and Inno's force is sort of all over the place here. It's not ideal at all, and Nurchio's thinking, you know what, actually, he might have a winning scenario here. All the tanks are just getting pulled out of position. There are new tanks deployed behind it, though, and Nurchio's force does fall to pieces.
Innovation doesn't start 3-3, but he's otherwise ahead in upgrades. Nice Blind Cloud there, but yeah, Nurchio's got to get out of here and fall back to these reinforcements.
Yeah, these Marines are doing a great job picking off high-value units here. There's an Ultralisk being added on just sort of at the front as a big fat tanky unit. Look at the, I gotta say, creep spread of Nurchio is very impressive. He's painted black, pink, purple.
Wow. I felt like it was like 3 or 4 tanks got abducted, and there's still 6.
Yeah, his tank production has been pretty phenomenal, and I think he deliberately held a lot of them back, honestly. He didn't commit them all to the front. We thought initially, oh god, this is horrible. But bear in mind, like, what did Innovation really lose in that fight? Some supply depots and a few tanks. Like, he didn't clump all of his tanks up, so the Blinding Cloud was ineffective. I don't think a Blinding Cloud even ended up getting used as a result. It's like, what are you going to throw it at? Didn't really help. Nice shelling going on there from Innovation on the top there. Nurchio suffering from a lack of Overseer.
Ultra's not getting their armor upgrade.
Yeah, no kindness plating.
Started. So now I'm at a loss. Like, that's just a mistake. No question about it.
It's weird.
Hopefully he realizes it, because a lot of times when players kind of forego that upgrade and miss it, they only realize after they take a fight and they're like, huh, those Ultras died kind of fast. What's going on?
And you got to bear in mind, the Ultra is designed to put like a clock on the Terran player where they can't stick to Marines forever. Once the Ultras get too tough, the Marines don't do anything. But right now, these Marines are just fine. They're up against
here.
No, he definitely doesn't want to go there. And the Blinding Cloud, not too bad this time. Needs to back off here. A wave of Hydras crashing down, and Innovation pulls back. But yeah, at the moment, those Ultras are quite vulnerable to Marines, honestly. A little bit too vulnerable. Hydra run by is soundly mostly deflected by the Planetary Fortress, but they actually got into a position where they can nibble away quite rapidly at that mineral line, which is not really what you want.
Very classic Nurchio. Always counterattacking. He always finds a way in there. He's even got a Hydra behind the mineral line over there. Really nicely done. And Innovation's kind of circling around, and it's really interesting. They're both maxing out here. Army supply is very similar. The upgrades are so bad for Nurchio. He has
They're really weird.
Yeah. He's just now getting +2 carapace, just now making Adrenaline. So this 3-3 is kind of late for Innovation, but when it kicks in, it's going to be felt.
Nasty fight for Nurchio. He did not engage that well at all. But yeah, you're right. That's 3-3 bio. Yeah, there's the +3 attack, but the armor is lacking. And those Ultras are rubbish in this position right now. That's what I'm concerned about. And Innovation has finally found a hole. He just wanders by and obliterates the base in an almost casual fashion. Is going to probably do the same thing again. And like I said, those Ultras, Innovation's actually too scared of them. You may even not realize those Ultras are so poorly upgraded. Nurchio, gonna go for a counterattack here. Need to see those Liberators put in position, but there's too many Hydras to safely do that right now. And yeah, Inno needs to realize those Ultras actually suck, and he can go after them right now. He can fight them head on. But right now, Nurchio is causing havoc with them over the other side of the map. But now Innovation's realized, like, oh look, those are rubbish. Look at how quickly they melted. And this could just keep going. Nurchio doesn't have anywhere near enough on this side to defend.
Nurchio
GG.
taps out GG, and it's kind of unfortunate to see that. I really do feel like, I mean, I look at these fights and I go, do those 3 ultras hold on and win there? Probably not if they have all the armor upgrades. But the big fight for me earlier is, as TotalBiscuit called it, it's like 3 ultras just evaporated when they were still Viper support and they fought mid map. If those have 4 or 5 armor, yeah, maybe that fight does go differently. Maybe Nurchio doesn't win there, but he trades more effectively and then isn't so worried about the base trade.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to ask Nurchio about that, really. I'd like to know, what was the game plan there? Why were those upgrades not in play? I can understand, not having the melee. Okay, you just want it as a tank, but he didn't have it as a tank either. So that's a lot of gas, a lot of money thrown into a unit that once Innovation realized, oh, these things are nothing. And it took him about a minute to figure it out.
But Roach, Hydra, Viper, like you were talking about, that was a really good composition. He was doing pretty okay damage. He probably overcommitted to 6 o'clock a little bit, but otherwise, if he stays on that, keeps abducting, gets the key units away, minimizes the medevac count, then transitions into now upgraded Ling Ultra, I think that's better.
Yeah, I think so. It was a strange game from Nurchio. Now he was deflecting harass left and right really, really well, but that decision to go ultraless makes me scratch my head a little bit. I don't quite understand why he did that.
Are we saying same server?
I think we got a coin flip for the next one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because we can only have Innovation, of course, on the throne right now. He may be able to hold it. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of the players. It wouldn't even matter what the rest of the player list was. He could hold it very, very easily. He could be our reigning king of the hill going into next month. That would be quite the king to dislodge. We've seen Innovation do that before, and I think he's only been reigning king through the next month once. He did hold it for a good 3 maps before actually losing to Hurricane, of all people, which that was an odd one.
Oh, I remember that.
That was a strange game. But there you go. Innovation knocks it off, and they're tied again! Ladies and gents, but 21 wins apiece right now.
We'll just have to keep doing this.
Yep. They will be fighting forever. And I can guarantee. Powered by Dodger Brand Coffee. Go check out the link right below there. Thank you for their one-off sponsorship of this tournament. We appreciate that. All right. We have a couple of competitors left. We have 3, in fact. I'd really prefer that we just went to the Korean server just so we don't have to deal with this crap. It's like,
I'm just idling
there. I don't care about the lag at this point.
Yeah, when I sit on NA, it just keeps breaking, and then I have to relog and stuff.
Yeah, it does. It does.
16,000 viewers. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate that. 16,000 viewers on the English stream alone.
Yeah, over 20 overall, I guess, by quite a bit.
Yeah, I believe so. It's been going quite nicely. Of course, plenty more StarCraft action. One of the best places to find out information on the events, by the way, is Team Liquid. Yeah, there's teamliquid.net. Let's say you're new to StarCraft 2, you come in because it's free to play. It's like, how do I find out about the tournaments that are going on? Because there's so many. It's like, you're right. StarCraft 2 actually has a lot of tournaments. Huge number, maybe too many, as we have sometimes pointed out. But the Team Liquid events calendar is one of the best places to look. Liquipedia has a tracking system for upcoming major tournaments. And if you look at the live events page in the calendar, you can see what's going on. I mean, for instance, of course, right now we're doing ShoutCraft Kings, but there's more today. There's the Wardy Weekly is happening as well. Zotac Cup NA qualifiers also happening today. As he gets, you just hear the disconnection sounds in the background over and over again. It's like this bloody server. Tomorrow we've got Kung Fu Cup playoffs. G-Star currently going on for Brood War, of course, which is a massive event. Ladder Heroes on Sunday as well, so go check that calendar out. You'll always find StarCraft of some description, and next Thursday, Friday, we have EU Finals for WESG, which some high-quality matchups in there. So you want to check out the European scene, that is the place to go. That'll be a big one. All right. Joining the game and certainly just hoping...
So we are on the same server.
I think so, yes. Olivia has, our wonderful admin, has hosted it on this server. See if I can actually enter the lobby. We apologize for all of this. Like I said, we don't know why NA server is going the way that it is today. It's definitely unhelpful. We're just going to have to soldier through it as best we can. The show must go on, after all. Yeah, I'm going to have to actually just restart my client entirely at this point. But we thank you for your patience nonetheless. Regardless of that, and the delay's been quite a quick tournament, actually.
Yeah, no, it's like an annoying hindrance, but it's not. We're fine.
I was interested to see whether this is going to be a trend of quicker games.
Oh, yeah.
Anything not involving Protoss seems like it goes pretty fast right now. We haven't had a huge amount of chance to see much TVT. That's usually a matchup that takes a while. Seen plenty of Zerg versus Terran go pretty quickly, and PvP and ZVZ both ending very fast, although the Hass effect might have something to do with that.
It's also been Legacy of the Void. Games are quicker in Legacy of the Void, but
yep.
I think especially with... This is one of the biggest mix-up. I know you guys have heard us say this quite a bit, but this has been one of the biggest balance shakeups in a while. They were really saving it up for after BlizzCon because they obviously don't want to invalidate a lot of that work. But then after BlizzCon, there's usually a huge lull. Like, it's like, okay, that was the highest of highs, so if we're just playing the same game after that, it's like fun, but, whatever. This was huge, so it was really nice.
All right, here we are, folks. There was one final player that made it to the BlizzCon Round of 4 that we have yet to present to you. And frankly, my favorite mirror matchup has not been all that well represented in this monthly tournament, so we're going to fix that. It's going to be a hell of a TVT between Innovation and Special.
Which is awesome. Special has fantastic TVT. He showed that off, of course, at BlizzCon, and he's actually always been very good at that matchup, but being good at it and getting results against these guys on that stage is something completely different, but he was able to do it.
Yeah, he really was. It was super impressive. Seeing Special kind of be the foreign hope, made it to the round of 4, which is the highest we have, of course, seen a foreigner ever reach at that particular level. Very impressive to see. And, he's always been a good player, but I feel like he's really come out and shone over the last few months in particular. His time... I mentioned this when we were on the casting couch at BlizzCon. There are some players that really benefit a lot from a visit to and stay in Korea. There are some players that adapt really well to that, and there are some players that really don't. Special seems to have taken it like a duck to water, and his level of play has gone skyward as a result. Very impressive to see. I really want to see what he can do in future.
Well, it's important to note, too, he's put in the work. It's not like he just went to Korea on a whim for a weekend. He's actually been going there and staying and making friends with these Korean professionals and working with them for a couple years now. He doesn't stay there solid the entire time, but he spends significant time there, sends himself there, or is sponsored by a team that believes him as well, and puts in the work, which is huge.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, TVT. To the northwest position, number 1 player in Mexico, and certainly one of the more promising foreign players right now. In the Red Trunks playing Terran, it's Special. To the southeast position, our reigning king of the hill, and our resident monster. In the Blue Trunks playing Terran, Innovation.
The reigning king of the hills, too,
yeah,
I guess.
King of Kings. Best way to describe him. Now, we talk a bit about Special. When we say 2017 has been his breakout year, despite the fact he's been around since 2010, it's true. All of his top 4 premier finishes happened in 2017.
Yep.
Despite the fact that he's been around for a while. That's a significant improvement. We've already said he's had potential. He's never been able to really realize it. For what reason? It's hard to say. A few years ago, I had a fairly adversarial relationship with Special, known as Major at the time, because he was known for, no-showing tournaments. He was unreliable. He didn't seem to really care all that much, so it was hard to really get behind him as a player, but his dedication since he's gone to Korea, you can't argue with it. You can't argue with the results either, and when it comes to TBT, he didn't just beat TY, he obliterated TY at BlizzCon. It wasn't close.
Well, I mean, to be fair, and I actually like this, and I don't mind it, because it's like a facade or a lie if we tell you that every successful player is this like shining beacon of awesome.
No, it's yeah.
Special is a bit of an odd bird. He's definitely immature. He's young, by the way. He's a young guy. But one thing that he's always had, and if you respect it, awesome, is he has a passion and love for competing in StarCraft, and he's just always been that way. He played Brood War, always punching above his area. He was fighting Koreans and playing against the best non-Koreans his entire time. And in StarCraft 2, I think back to even the MLG days where he was hyped up again, deservedly so, because he was always a very good player. So he's had his spotty track record, but what's been consistent is he always wants to be the best. And to your point, it's really nice to finally see that work at Korea kind of clicking in, and he's starting to get those results. I mean, he's making tens of thousands of dollars off the back of that work.
And I don't think you can really become a top foreign Terran without spending a good amount of time in Korea. Terran has historically been a race that non-Koreans have had trouble playing well. It's a very mechanically demanding race, and as a result, Protoss and Zerg seem to be the races that foreign players were more successful with. There were maybe arguably a race that requires less just pure manual dexterity and APM, and more a case of races that require strategy. And it's not to say that Terran does not. It absolutely does. Nice little engagement in the center of the map. Special with excellent positioning, by the way. Maneuvering to actually get the best possible shots off. Gets out of there. Not too much of a problem. Anyway, but the point is, like, the mechanical demands of Terran in StarCraft 2 are higher than the other races. And for some reason, South Koreans are just better at that. They're faster. We don't know why, but they are. As it turns out, Special is, playing on the level of Koreans right now, and got some interesting stuff going on here. He's gone for a full-on cloaked Banshee build.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more of this around that BlizzCon tournament and era, and it's going to show up over here. But as TotalBiscuit pointed out earlier, be mindful of that Cyclone. Its burst fire is pretty high, but wisely so. The Special is going to back off with this Banshee. It is being shadowed by the Viking, but it's a little bit of kind of a false. Well, it's going to get pushed by this Cyclone, but also even if you scanned and attacked, it doesn't kill the Banshee as long as it keeps flying away.
No, it doesn't. It is draining a lot of that energy, though. So, Banshee's not really going to be able to come back into play. The interesting use of that counter Cyclone was really cool to see, because look at that. As a result of the combo, you can actually kill the Banshee because of that new 4-rocket burst fire ability that the Cyclone has. Like, pre-patch, that would never have worked. And now, exciting. I'm really looking forward to this. For the first time this tournament, we are seeing the new Raven coming into play.
And I love this too. It's not like Special shows up, by the way, and it's just like, well, that was weird. I'll just do it again. It's these guys learning on the fly. The difference the Cyclone adds to that anti-air is huge all of a sudden. So that Banshee, that second Banshee, is just a straight up, we all look at that and say, well, that was kind of dumb. It killed 2 SCVs. Yeah, but these players are adjusting. Usually when you spend on a cloaked Banshee, you don't just make the one. You almost always at least follow up with the second one. But in the future, will Special open up cloaked Banshees? I would estimate probably not.
Yeah, but bearing that in mind, at least in this particular matchup, maybe not, because of that Cyclone ability. And lovely pickoff. Special trades Widowmine for a Cyclone, and then unfortunately loses the Cyclone for no real reason, which is a bit weird. But forward he pushes, catches Innovation of the high ground. What can Special do with this brand new Raven? Well, it's got a couple of new abilities, and there's one of them. Interference Matrix, used on that deployed tank to pick it off.
Really cool. Shuts down the back siege tank. Marines trading out pretty well right now, getting a few SCVs. There's still the 2 tanks there.
Yeah.
It looks like it might end up costing him this Raven, but he's going to be able to... Well, I was going to say win the fight, but no, he's going to be pushed back here.
Yep.
But Special is securing his third behind this and has not lost SCVs. So 9 SCVs in total killed by Special.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. It's some expensive commitments to do it, certainly, but bear in mind, Innovation has also lost an equal number of resources, but he lost workers, and in a mirror match, that matters. Even if it is a Terran mirror where mules are in play, well, your opponent's got those too. But yeah, Interference Matrix, that's one of the new abilities of the Raven. The Raven now retooled to be more of a support caster, and Interference Matrix shuts down mechanical units. We've even seen it do crazy things like disable a dropship's ability to drop units. That counts as an ability. You can't do anything with it. So there are lots of possibilities in the Terran versus Terran matchup for Raven usage, and also in the Terran versus Protoss. In Zerg, not so much. You know, they don't have mechanical units, so, you know, some of those abilities aren't going to work, but I'm intrigued to see what that's going to do for the future of the matchup.
Classic innovation style, takes an attack, gets the worst end of it, somehow shows up with about equal or oftentimes greater supply. And that's just what he does. It's going to go ahead and shoot down this sensor tower, and it's just outside of range, so there's going to be that no-man zone here. Slight advantage for innovation, because he does have the Viking, of course, to spot forward for his own tanks. Oh, good scan, actually. Innovation just picked up to go do a drop, and that's when the scan just sees it happening. So, deadly spot, though. If you're able to siege up outside of a third like this, the position can get really taxing.
Well, Special's looking to make his way around, possibly try and sandwich that position, or he may just ignore it entirely. I would like to see him sandwich it, because Innovation is posturing to attack. He's not going to just sit there. He knows that that's vulnerable. But what we have... Oh, that was a nasty spot. Like, good spread out of units, in particular by Innovation, to see that drop coming, and Special's like, all right, well, I can't really do that. But that's interesting, because it's forced Innovation to pull back, which means that that force on the third is not going to be able to do anything. It can't attack, it doesn't have reinforcements, and he's going to go straight for the main, and there is a welcome party ready for him, so he does want to get out of there. But, you know, it's delayed this push. It's given Special more time to prepare.
Yep, and Special's going to respond by winning the air battle, the very small air battle. It was 2 Vikings versus the 1, but in doing so, Innovation's not comfortable sitting there and not seeing an attack coming and losing those tanks essentially for free, so he backs up.
Hardly blame him.
Good map presence by Innovation, though. We talk about how it did buy time for Special, so it's not like it was a complete loss, because Special made the right choice to not overcommit to that drop anyways. But if Innovation doesn't see that attack coming and his whole army's mid-map and he's just kind of, walking them out there, he can lose a third or get his production jumped on top of it, and it can become really weird.
Yep. It's a interesting game of chess that we've got going on right here between two of the best in the world at this matchup, and it's showing some very high-level stuff. Innovation already seeing this potential run-by coming. Like, they know. They both of them very much know, and Innovation shuts that down actually very effectively. 7 to 8 Marines lost in that engagement for free. Special trying to come around the other side, but of course sensor towers playing a huge role in this matchup. Like, there's not a lot of secret places you can go. Special, behind this, Fusion Core double starport.
Well, I want to say battlecruisers, but is there more upgrades on that? I don't actually know, to be honest with you.
I mean, the only other thing it really could be is Mass Liberator with the advanced, cannon upgrade, which gives the extra range. Might be useful, especially against the amount of siege tanks that Innovation has.
I think it's a little bit early for battlecruisers. He doesn't have a bank. He doesn't have a huge gas. Doesn't have a lot of bases. So I think you're right. It probably is Liberators.
We'll see. Unless there's another Fusion Core upgrade that I don't know about that was added in 4.0.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting to see what he does with
Tech
it.
Lab's been added. Yeah, so it could be BCs. He could be prepping for that. I mean, it's not like someone's still building Liberators off that, but he's not going to be building a huge number of them with Tech Labs rather than reactors. And we see the same thing for Innovation. My oh my. In the meantime, solid run by here by Special. Wants to take that base out, jumps right on top of the tanks, but Innovation comes right behind him, and there's no escape for that. Oh my. Special turns around with what he has left, and God, he loses a lot in that fight. Like, that was not worth it. It did allow him to get a position on this base here, but that's a worryingly small force by Special, and Innovation's about to flank it. This is bad. Special needs to get the hell out of there now. Right now. Too late. Inno drops the hammer.
Not a bad trade by Special, though. He did target the Marines with the tanks and gets out with the medevacs, so it ends up being a little bit more of a trade for him as opposed to just a straight-up annihilation. So expected good control from Special, and we were not disappointed. Still looking at these starports. So right now it's Vikings?
For the moment, yeah. It's
the other starport. Yeah, he's going with the reactor at the other starport.
Special. Yeah, he's got. There's the advanced ballistics upgrade. So that's the Liberator upgrade. But it seems like first he wants to gain massive air dominance, which he will with that number of Vikings. That's an absurd number of Vikings. whereas Innovation seems to be going for the Liberators and obviously going for the same thing. So Special sort of one step ahead in thinking here. You know, he knows Innovation is going for that large number of Liberators, so he wants air dominance to prevent that from happening, which he has. You know, his Viking count is massive. Innovation absolutely cannot fight that number of Vikings.
And he actually waited and now revealed them too. He dealt with the first Liberator with the Marines and then showed up with the Vikings, which netted him 2 Liberators. And on the flip side, there's some Vikings coming out for Innovation now. So we could just have a full-on Viking versus Viking battle, which would be pretty cool.
I mean, Special's like massively ahead in those numbers. Innovation can't really catch up feasibly. So I'm not really sure.
He's going to have to throw some units away for sure, yeah.
Yeah, he'll have to do that. I mean, obviously the problem with overcommitting to Vikings, especially since Special has no upgrades of any sort for them, is they're not going to be that useful on the ground if a big ground army comes in. I mean, I'd like to see Innovation just give up on the Liberator plan entirely. Special's pretty much maxed out. It's not like Special can actually add Liberators here. He's added 2 more starports. It looks like he will go for that, but only when he's lost this army, only when that army has been traded out. So, this Viking force is not that useful right now.
Not as useful. It can push back things, can fight the medevacs, but you're right. The stronger ground force for right now seems to be the better representation. That army up there is fine and good, but look at the army southern here on the left side.
Yep.
Kind of hesitating, but it's enough to kill a planetary as long as it's just the planetary.
Yep. He's got to push in. He's thinking about it. Thinking about maybe dropping and then maybe sieging up, you know, attacking from 2 potential points. We see Sensor Towers just covering the map at this point. Special building defensive line after defensive line. And it comes to realize, well, Vikings can't really do much against that. It's like, you're right. Well, Liberators get deployed, and they will eliminate that eventually without any real losses being taken in. And the Innovation, in the meantime, is bypassing that main defensive line entirely, going right up the middle. And what is Special's response to that going to be? I mean, it's going to be a lot of Vikings. Certainly, he'll certainly win the air battle. I'm worried about what's on the ground. Let's find out. And he dives right on top of the Liberators. They're gone. The tanks, however, still reign supreme. Now he gets his Liberators deployed on top of the tanks, and those tanks are going to die very quickly. Needs to get the hell out of there. And that's what that air dominance was for, to secure those Liberators.
Not bad. A good game plan out from Special. Innovation trying to adapt. A production drop did happen inside his main, but he seems to have been able to clean that up as well. And yeah, you pointed out earlier, but it's kind of funny looking at the map. It's like a Venn diagram of all these.
Pretty much. I can see everything.
Seen.
There's not going to be any secrets between these two. And now it's like 9 Vikings being built by Innovation. This is just weird. Like, you know, they're creating massive air armies just because the other opponent is making air armies.
It's a funny escalation, right? Like,
yeah.
The Liberators don't help that much in the Viking versus Viking battle.
No.
But if you just go
Innovation doesn't have any
on Vikings, it does come to a weird spot where all of a sudden, if a million Marines show up, the Vikings aren't that great.
Yeah. But I don't think Special has the production to really build that many. In he goes. Special does get the better end of that. Innovation actually does have the advantage in numbers of Vikings, though, now. So
17 to 20. So Special's down 3 right now.
Oh, God. Like, what do you even do in this situation? Like, do you toss some Thors in?
Vikings.
Yeah, you arms race Vikings because the other guy is... someone's got to blink at some point. Someone's got to and somehow free up supply to actually build ground units again.
Yeah.
Because this isn't going to win a game. This is going to win anything. We're going to see these land at some point probably. And here comes another engagement. The Liberators are in the center of the fight. Get a little bit of AoE going off, but yeah, they're going to obliterate each other. Simple as that. Like, well,
the Vikings tanked, or not the Vikings, excuse me, the Liberators. So
they did,
they don't
yes.
Like, their AoE is not that big of a deal. But the Viking damage output's so high that if you're shooting Liberators, well, then the Vikings are killing like 2 to 1 on that trade, I guess.
Yeah, you got to bear in mind like the overkill potential of such a large number of Vikings as well. Like,
yeah,
they fire slowly. They can easily waste DPS on a target that's already dead while the things are still in flight. So there are problems with that. Oh, Innovation jumps right on top of it, and this is just getting a little strange. You know, it's a very small number of Liberators protected by a very large number of Vikings. And neither player is really willing to give way on the Viking production, because if they do, they give up complete air superiority. These drops, oh my god. Special actually gets something on the ground. I'm not even sure how he managed it, considering the number of Vikings that are in there. Reactor gets shut down. Innovation's ground army cleans up that drop. something's got to give here. One of these players has got to stop doing this. The question is who will it be and what will he do?
I don't know. I mean, you talked about Thors. They're cool, but they're pretty immobile. So I feel like they both are just two like locked horns, you know, goats or whatever, just doing battle out there. But it's going to be Vikings. It just has to be Vikings forever.
Yeah, because the other guy's going Vikings.
Watching the Viking count grow. It's 26 right now for innovation. So I guess he's winning. I don't know.
What's interesting is there's so few Liberators that I think Special has realized this, that he can start to really increase his tank production again. Because the Liberator threat isn't actually that large. There's very few of them. So this may be what catches Innovation off guard. There's a lot of tanks. He is outnumbered in terms of tanks. If Special attacks, gets a good position on Innovation, those Vikings, they're not going to be that useful. All 31 of them. And he's still building them.
Well, Special's up a base. He's very well saturated. They actually have, I think it was very similar. It's 74 SCVs for Innovation versus 67. But the base spread is better for Special. So his income is pretty good right now.
Innovation.
Although his bank is a little bit smaller. I don't know.
Sending a small force around there. Interception force coming in from Special. They're going to prepare there. I'm still liking Special's position more. I mean, look at it, 15 tanks to 7. But, you know, he needs to find this opportunity to push with this while Innovation is completely overcommitted to Vikings. But I say overcommitted. Those things land, they're going to tear through tanks. Their actual damage versus armor is huge. Here comes a giant engagement of something. And Innovation should win the air battle. No doubt about that. He has the numbers to do it. And then the Liberators can move into position. Special will just need to back off, I think, at this point. But now Special, really, the logical thing would be to just attack.
Yep.
But he lost most of his tank advantage.
No tanks here.
Yeah, I mean...
just now relocating.
Special doesn't have much of an army left. You know, he's trying to reproduce his Marine count now. He doesn't really have enough production to make that happen quickly enough. Liberators being felled, more Vikings being added into the mix. Like, I kind of wish Special pushed 2 minutes ago, honestly. Innovation clears.
He does too, I think.
Yeah, I think he did. I don't think he realized just how much of a bigger tank advantage he had. I think he could have won the game there. But now things have not gone in his favor. You know, that was crushing. Innovation did huge damage there. The Viking count, you know, recovering that. Special, he's going to still try and do it.
He's hanging in there. He's down 50 supply. He was up a base, so it wasn't the most devastating thing to lose that. It's just that he lost all the Vikings. It's a huge commitment. But he's now at... Oh, wow. He's at... Oof. He's down 10 Vikings, and I think he's still making them.
There's no reason to make them. Like, although actually Innovation has gone back to producing 3 Liberators at a time. So yes, there is now a good reason to make them. I mean, I think the best possible option that the Special could have done, and he doesn't have the production to do this, is just mass-produce Marines. But he doesn't have enough barracks. We've seen him produce like 9 at a time at the most. It's not going to do the trick. Special's gone full-on, like, +3 air weapons, +3 ship plating. He wants to win that engagement. He gets the Marines underneath, but then they run into a huge amount of tank fire. And then, of course, the Liberators will have dominance over these tanks on the ground. Special once again lose the engagement. GG. What a weird TVT that turned into.
It's a cool combo. Liberators can push back everything, and then if you have any kind of tanks at all, then the Marines cannot run on top of the Liberators. But the only thing that really scares those Liberators is Vikings. So both players got locked up in the same great idea, same composition. And it's just made for a weird situation where both players are massing Vikings. It's a lot like Muta battles, which don't happen very much in StarCraft 2, but when two giant flocks of mutas hit each other, you're not really sure who's going to win unless one guy's got a lot more or way better upgrades, but both of them just kept clashing over and over again.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't even know if Ravens would even make much of a difference in that fight anymore. They still have point defense drone, right? That's a thing? Just checking. They got changed a lot.
No, I mean,
they don't have PDD. PDD's gone.
Okay.
So they wouldn't have even been useful, I don't think, in that at all. I'm gonna have to look at what a Raven can even do now, because they literally completely retooled the thing. Yeah, so they've got repair drone, anti-armor missile, which actually has splash. If that could target air, that would make a difference. It does 30 splash damage and reduces the armor of affected units by 3 for 21 seconds. That's pretty good. And then, of course, Interference Matrix, which isn't really useful at all. But yeah, PDD is gone. They completely redid the kit. With enhanced munitions.
I don't think Ravens were the answer there. I don't think
no, I don't think so. It was just that weird arms race where it's like, well, you're building Vikings, I have to build Vikings. What choice do I have? But yeah, if Special had attacked maybe 2 minutes early, when he had double the tanks of his opponent, doable, I think.
Maybe, but he's losing the air battle, and the Raiders would kind of.
That he is, no doubt. Well, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. That was a strange fight indeed. Let's see what comes of the next one. We haven't got to see too much TVP in this tournament, but we do have a Protoss left, don't worry. We'll put him up against Innovation and see how he fares. I'd say Innovation's been historically good at this matchup, but he's historically good at every matchup. Let's see what he can do, because it is showtime.
And this is fun as well. Showtime also absent from BlizzCon, so we haven't gotten to see him on the big stage in a little while. But he's been at work. I mean, if you didn't make it to BlizzCon, what you were doing was working on the future, and that is now.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The Protoss have had huge changes. Massive changes, no doubt. He hasn't played that much recently, though. Like, Showtime is... No, that can't be the right one. I'm looking at his score right here. I was like, no, there was another Showtime. It's like, no, that's not the same guy. There was actually used to be a Korean Showtime, if you could believe it. I didn't know that, but it's like, he hasn't played since 2014. That's not him. No. Showtime, of course, was a Home Story Cup, and put on some pretty cool performances right there. He was able to do pretty well for himself. Took 3-0 against Namsha, 3-0 against Optimus, 3-0 against Soke, who again is a player... You know, those are fairly inactive players, let's just say. Didn't do too well against Stats. I haven't seen much of him in TVP as of late, though, so... What he'll be able to do against Innovation, we don't know.
Optimus and Namsha are both active, but, like, you expect Showtime to do better versus them.
Yeah, maybe.
So, that tournament doesn't tell me too much. Losing to Stats, no one's going to kind of flinch at that.
Definitely
But he's going to need to bring his A-game, because the guy he's facing is the winningest ShoutCraft Kings player ever.
Yes, indeed it is. To the northwest position, the challenger to the throne. In the Blue Trunks playing Protoss, it's showtime. Versus his opponent to the southeast position. In the Red Trunks playing Terran, Innovation.
Yeah, and I think as you say that, I think have we only had one PVT?
I believe we have. Yeah, we haven't had too many. We were a little short on Protoss this time around.
Well, we got a heavy dose of Zest, a comical dose of Hass.
We did, yeah.
Neeb started the day off looking good too. I mean, it's kind of typical ShoutCraft Kings where like a 4-win streak is rare. We've had 2 of those today, I think, and we're working on a third.
It's a good number, and yeah, Innovation could reach 4 today. There is one final player he must face if he defeats Showtime here. And Showtime...
Me?
No, definitely not. But Showtime is a little bit of an unknown at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit. He's stylistically though through time, he's been always kind of like he's always known for his defense, and he's always just very tried and true. I think the Stargate's so powerful that we'll probably still see him open up with that anyways.
Yeah, probably.
But I want to see his shield battery stuff because that's been pretty inspiring. Very different, just a different way of thinking.
Yeah, and if he's naturally a defensive player anyway, the shield battery really leans into that in particular.
Yeah.
I like the shield battery more than I thought. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily we're going to remove a unit and then give you a stationary building that heals things. I'm like, well, that sounds kind of boring. But it's made things far more interesting than I thought. Case of you can play with a lot less units, but you can hold a position. They're limited on range, so you have to be very specific about where you put them. It seems to change unit composition quite a bit, putting some value on units that may previously not have had them. So,
I don't hate it. To be reactionary, too, which I thought was really interesting. It was like, oh, no, I'm going to be attacked. So, here's me thinking of, like, in limited terms, people are like, oh, I'll build 1 or 2. No. Neeb's like, let's
Lots.
build 6. If you want to fight here, I am invincible.
Down goes that Widow Mine, which Terran are not too happy with the change to it. I can hardly blame them. It's like, oh, it's not invisible when it's on cooldown. Like, that sucks. Does mean you generally actively have to pull them back, so it's not like a fire and forget sort of unit anymore, which I think from a design standpoint is probably a good thing. But simultaneously,
so that they had something that was working really nice. It was not, and now it's just going to be less effective. So adjusting will have to happen. That Reaper, by the way, gets a scout that's critical. A lot of times it doesn't get in for this scout in particular, but it sees the gateways, it sees the Twilight Council, it sees the Robo, all of which, by the way, are not Stargates. Very different from what I thought was going to be the opening, but it allows them to prepare. Stalkers are way more powerful, so guess what's back? Blink Observer. I mean, not just all into your base, but it's strong defensively, and then if you do overcommit to harass, it can turn around and snowball.
Innovation with a medevac drop, saying, well, you know what? Really, for the medevac drop with the Widow Mines, that change doesn't make much of a difference, because usually you'd pull them out anyway after they fired. It used to be the case that you'd just leave them around, but I think that was early on in Legacy of the Void. Past that point, people are like, well, no, I'm not going to just let you leave a mineral line, leave a Widow Mine in my mineral line for 2 minutes. Like, that's never going to happen. So they've started trying to pull them out. Nice shutdown right there. And honestly, like, not too much damage done by the Widow Mines. Good pull from Showtime there. No problem at all. Nice quick cleanup. And the medevac was lost as well, which is not ideal.
No, it's not what Innovation wanted. Kind of funny, Showtime actually waited to kill the Widow Mine at the natural to grab his Observer, but then realized, nope.
You don't need it anymore. Yeah. No need for that. But he handled that very well.
Scouted by Innovation, by the way, so that is nice. Because again, one of the concerns when you see the opening that he did from Showtime is he just adds 5 more gateways and does like an 8-gate Blink Stalker attack, which you cannot be taking a third or teching at all. It's all hands on deck to defend and survive. But instead, he sees the third and should know that he's relatively safe.
Yep. Should be able to think about taking his own third base sooner rather than later. But with the amount of production he's got coming in right now, like, this smells like a parade push to me from Innovation. Yeah. Something he used to do in this matchup a lot and was very, very successful with.
It's going to be hard against these Blink Stalkers. Now, behind this, Showtime's adding 2 forges. I do like the charge upgrade, but I don't think he's identified what's happening here yet, which is that he needs to not be upgrading at all or teching really and just build right now.
Get units. His Blink Stalkers are good, don't get me wrong, but Innovation has gone full on production. There is no sign of a third base. He's going to get Stim, he's going to get Combat Shield +1, and then he's just going to parade units consistently across the map until you die. Now, will Showtime be able to hold on? Well, if he had a lot of shield batteries, maybe, but we're seeing him, like, kind of forgo that. He's got 1. That won't really help him that much. I'm a bit concerned for him here.
Yeah, I think he's trying to save up his money to start getting these gateways going, but these gateways he's added are just so late.
Yep.
He's got another Immortal coming. You can really chrono boost that out, but the attack's already here.
Yep, and the tank is in position, and in a nasty position as well. Difficult to deal with. Widow Mine gets deployed, and quick blink out of the way for Showtime right there. The Immortal finally gets to grips with the siege tank, but not before the Stalkers take pretty massive damage. And again, shield barriers are great, but they drain really, really fast. And unfortunately, that Immortal would have been great if you had a couple more shield batteries. That third base is forfeit at this point.
Yep, no shield battery, no units. He's got Immortals kind of trickling out here, but you said it, parade push. This attack is unending.
Never end.
And the medevac count, which, by the way, is really critical, the Stalkers were never able to minimize that, so the healing is going to be ridiculous.
Yep. That battery is just on no hit points at all. But the charging Zealots, yeah, they're great, don't get me wrong, but Marauders have a lot of health, and those medevacs are going to be able to keep them running pretty much all day. More Widow Mines deployed in a really awkward position, the kind of position that would make blinks very, very risky, and this isn't going to stop, and it's shut down. Like, that pylon going down, shield battery going down, like, this is done. And GG. Innovation runs him over. Simple as that.
You go back to kind of the beginning of the day when Gumio tried a very similar push against Zest. Zest did not add double forge. He went up to like, I think it was 6, 7, maybe even 8 gateways off those 3 bases. And he could have been the aggressor, but what he certainly could have done is defended. And I feel like if those forges would have been gateways instead, I think we would have seen a very similar defense here from Showtime.
Or shield batteries, anything along those lines. Have 3 or 4 of those batteries, and suddenly those immortals don't die anytime soon. So, yeah, I think you're right, though. It's like, oh, I'm going to get tech and all this other things. Like, yeah, but he doesn't have a third. He's building things, and he's coming for you. You need to prepare, which he was not. As simple as that. So, there you go. You don't stop an innovation parade push by teching, unfortunately. As Showtime just found out to his cost. Well, it's been a pretty short tournament today, but we have one final match, ladies and gents. But before we unveil who the player for that will be, we'd like to remind you, of course, this tournament's brought to you by DodgerCoffeeCompany.com. Go check out some of the highest quality beans and cold brew that you can get delivered right to your door. Check out the link at shoutcraft.dodgercoffeeco.com if you want to have a look at that. All ethically sourced, craft produced, the highest quality beans, and a wonderful wake-up call in the morning.
It's amazing, too, because I actually recently found out that Dodger is the one that farms the beans and will actually deliver the orders personally as well when you order from her.
That may also be completely fictional, but it is the United States. There are very few rules when it comes to advertising, so I think we can get away with saying that.
Could be real, too, though. You don't know until you order, I guess.
No, indeed, you do not. You don't know until you try. Well, the final player, ladies and gentlemen, for ShoutCraft Kings November. Innovation sitting on $1,500. Feeling pretty good about that, no doubt. And of course, would love to go on to December as the reigning King of the Hill and continue to extend his lead as the King of Kings. But in order to do that, he must fight a very promising Zerg player in the form of a laser.
The other white meat for a round of 4 BlizzCon.
Yep.
Good player. And previously, by the way, this would be a pretty big mismatch, right? Because Laser actually had pretty bad ZBT last year, but this year, realizing that's his weakness, he worked on it, and he's quite impressive.
I mean, he's just quite impressive in general. Number 1 player in Poland.
I gotta cut in. Laser getting some smack talk from Innovation, by the way. Did you see that?
I did see a bit of that, but feel free to let them know what happened.
He says, thank you for $500.
Oh. Innovation. Salty. All right, well, we'll see. I wouldn't underestimate a Laser under any circumstances. Also someone who put on a fantastic showing at Home Story Cup.
Yeah.
Dispatched Showtime 3-1. Beat Namshar 3-0. Halston and Stefano. Did go down to stats, but not without a fight. It was a 3-1 game. Lost in a ZVZ to Solar, but no one's going to blame him for that. That happens quite often. Of course, his showing at BlizzCon was great. He could have very easily gone through the round of 4, but he did lose the special. The special is very, very good. So, for the final time today in the northwest position, the reigning King of the Hill. In the blue trunks, playing Terran, Innovation. Versus his opponent to the southeast position from Team Q-Lash in the red trunks, playing Zerg from the country of Poland. It is a Laser.
It's Clash. You know what, though? Let's blame Rotterdam.
Clash? With a Q?
Q-Lash.
Is that what they decided to go with?
Clash, yeah.
Well, that's
not
very...
speak, dude.
Oh, is it? I must just be behind the times. I'm too old. I'm an old man these days.
We're old now.
Yeah. The clash between a Laser and Special at BlizzCon was quite a good series.
Yeah.
Could have very easily gone either way, frankly, but Special was on fire in that matchup, no doubt about it. Was not able to replicate that success against Sue, but nobody blames him for that.
No. I think what was interesting about their match at BlizzCon was it was one of the matches I saw where butterflies were definitely there. Both players knew that if they could beat each other, like they both were, not mismatched. And the next tier is another, I think it was like $20,000 and a chance for more. It's ridiculous. So they didn't play their best StarCraft, and I say that more so about a Laser than Special for sure, but it was still fun. And that's the thing about StarCraft too. Like people I think StarCraft fans tend to be like, I need to see the perfect game. You're never going to see the perfect game. It's going to be about both the players really trying to fight back the mistakes that they're inevitably going to make anyways.
Indeed. Nurchio currently tweeting out. Very positive, actually. He was happy with his performance today, and he's looking forward to competing in the WESG qualifiers. So if you want to follow him, that will be the next place that he's going to. Always good to see positivity from Nurchio. I think he enjoys this tournament.
He's been happier lately, I gotta say. He has not been the cranky Nurchio that he's known for like a little while.
Yeah, that is true.
He gives some of the best interviews. Every time they do a WCS interview with him, he is one of the more animated, cracking jokes, interesting people. And that was not the case.
He doesn't hold back either. You know, he's not a humble guy, but he has no justification for being humble. You know, he is that good. He knows he's that good. He's confident, but not obnoxiously so. And that's good. You know, we need to see those kind of personalities.
Ask Snoot if he's obnoxious or not, I guess.
Well, Snoot's like the nicest guy in the world. That doesn't count. Like, he's almost sickeningly nice.
No, I mean, ask Snoot about Nurchio.
Oh, yes. Still, I don't think Snoot would be mean in that respect. I think he'd be nice about Nurchio, even if Nurchio wasn't nice back. Well, a laser with the really early pneumaticized carapace, which we haven't seen a lot of this tournament, despite the fact that it is a cool upgrade that's gaining some popularity. Being able to save overlords from being killed by single Marines is useful.
Well, you're just going to get a 100% scout. There's nothing
always.
That can stop it.
Can't stop it. No way. Double engineering grade from Innovation. Interesting.
I like it.
Yeah. It's like a tech-heavy approach. He's feeling pretty confident.
CC. I mean, if he wants to go full 4GG, he needs to add a 4th CC right now. And I will...
That would probably result in a GG and not in the way that he wanted to.
No. Oh my god, was that a pun?
It was.
Sorry.
Indeed. To some extent, you've become immune to them.
They sneak up on me, and it's like a cold, clammy, wet handshake. It's just, ugh.
It's like the kings that took a small amount of poison every day to eventually become immune to being poisoned, you know?
Did that happen?
No, it's probably entirely apocryphal, but, I choose to believe that it does.
Okay.
Build up that kind of immunity to puns just by showing up on this show. We don't pay you enough for that. You're not getting any more, by the way. No.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? To be fair, I probably don't deserve any.
No. Wouldn't say so. You play too much XCOM. You're not a real StarCraft commentator anymore.
It's true, but they need to fix the NA server so I can't play StarCraft.
Yeah, that's a good excuse not to play StarCraft at the moment if you're in NA, because holy hell, those servers are busted. And on a Saturday as well, which is not the best time to have that happen. No.
You know what? This is interesting. So he's going to take that middle base, and I know historically the logic for Terran players is they want to expand towards the Zerg, and that was back in the era of the parade push more commonly, and he is setting up for that style, so that definitely could be exactly what this is kind of doing. But it's also curious too, because I believe it was Gumio who died. No, it was not Gumio. Anyways, it also makes you vulnerable to a Roach, Ravager, Queen attack, which is also fairly prevalent. But not taking shape here, though. Worth noting.
No. Bending speed being added. Double vision chamber. Hydra Den. Looks like standard from a laser right now, you know? Hydra Bane is very, very good. No reason not to go for it.
I think he's going to do a drop 12 o'clock, and I love this. A laser has always been pretty ahead of the curve on this, and Innovation's hacking,
oh
by
my
the way.
god,
This is just a hack. Ban him.
I mean,
now. Ban him.
I mean, Inno already knew about the pneumaticized carapace early on, which is something of a tell that you're going to attempt that, and that's maybe the best position to do it, but that was almost precognition.
Right to it.
You know, it's precognition from Inno, really. It's surprising. He was out on the map anyway, but yeah, that is really got to suck for a lazy. Like, how did you even? That's insane.
And I'm joking, of course, I guess, for a more casual audience. Innovation is just literally on that level where, yes, all it was a speed overlord. And also he knows a laser. And a laser, what I was about to go into, is known to be very active with his drops, just like that. It's a really great thing about his play.
Yep. Quick pick up and go from Innovation.
Right now.
Yep. And quick Ling run by. Doesn't really get a lot done. Combat shield kicking in, and we will see some pressure applied. But you got a highly mobile army here from a laser, and always that risk of a drop. So Innovation can't be too impetuous about pushing.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking about how interesting Marines fighting in that grid would be. It'd be really terrible for Ling Baneling, actually.
Oh, yeah, it'd be awful.
You can kind of siege up around that. It doesn't really get you any critical space, but I guess if they take the gold base, you can kind of use that as a launching platform for your attack. So, hope to see.
Strange little map feature. Cool to see, nonetheless. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see some more interesting maps in some kind of event in the future. Maybe,
oh, really?
Possibly.
Like some kind of tournament or something, you think? Or
maybe. Why not? I don't know who would be crazy enough to put something like that on, but, you know.
If only they had the resources or
the technology just isn't there yet, yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday. But for right now, Innovation's going to be pushing out his drop, circling with Doom, but it's nice. You can see that Laser's in position to deal with it, but that's kind of what Innovation wants. He wants the Zerg to be splitting up its army and really concerned with those kind of drops.
Yep. Little attempt to run-bys, you know, possible.
Oh my god. He's on top of the Banelings up there as well.
This has got to the point where Innovation is just seeing the future, which doesn't seem fair. But
no, it wouldn't be.
Not really a lot we can do about that. You know, he is super active on this map. He's well aware of what's going on. Only blessing, I think, for Laser so far is that Laser's taken very, very little damage.
Until now. The gold base defocuses this. There's no way. Okay, well, you know what? You said it. That army hauls ass.
Yeah, it's fast.
Crap. It was so out of position that it's just on top of it 2 seconds later.
Yep. You know, you got creep, you got a straight path there. You know, that makes those defenses easy. And that has reduced the amount of damage that's been done. I mean, Innovation has spent basically nothing this game. You know, he's lost 300 resources, which is pocket change. Yeah. And these run-bys are not getting a lot done. They do pick off a tank, which, you know, that's nice to have, but he even buried some Zerglings there in the middle there. That's interesting. You know, that'll be a little annoying when an engagement comes in. Oh, well, you asked for a fight in the maze. Well, you just got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely terrible, and I would not want to fight in that maze under any circumstances as a Zerg. So,
and definitely favors Terran in that situation,
without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. The Lings are going to pop up and do some good damage there. But in the meantime, Innovation's all right, well, I'm going to counterattack. I'm going to stretch you thin. And that's the kind of thing that a Laser should be able to respond to. He has the numbers for it. The Hydras decimate those dropships. That's going to get pushed back hard.
Right side, though.
Yeah.
I'm thinking just in my head is Hail to the King, our song. I mean, he's just churning this through. Every bit of harass is getting defended fairly nicely by a Laser, but still somehow Innovation is finding damage and pulling further ahead. And that's the war machine that is Innovation. Like, if you're not doing damage to him, his perfect, clean macro is going to floor you. You are losing. You have to do something. You have to stop him.
Yep. Yeah, the Burrowed Ling attack did do something, but we need to see more of that. You know, now maybe attempt another drop now, you know, while you know his army isn't patrolling everywhere. Maybe give that a shot. You know, it looks like he's going to wait for +2/+2 before he fights again. But Inno is everywhere. Inno is defending well. A Laser's economy, at least, you know, is in a pretty damn good spot, and he's got to hive without really taking a huge amount of damage. So he may be able to move from there. Banelings try and engage and say, nope, that ain't going to happen. He's going to back off, try and find a better position. Yeah, that was a nice attempt, but, you know, too savvy for that one. He's been caught out once by Burrow this game, never again. He won't make that mistake again, I don't think. The Laser's going to have to move back to defend.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's very active. He's very kinetic. I just want to see a little bit more drop action from him. Putting Banelings in the maze. That's a really cool little move there. But in he comes from all sides. Fighting in the maze again, though. Like, that's not...
do it.
It's not... No, you really can't. That Queen, I don't know. That Queen just gave up on life for whatever reason. Wandered into a line of fire. And this is...
sees the future, man. And this is what I was talking about. He's sieged up to the left of it. He's got Marines in the maze. You cannot engage here. This is not going to go well.
No, especially, you know, not with an Overseer. If we're not without an Overseer, he's got this Viper out now, but, like, there's not enough Hydras here. There is not enough Hydras. That army is going to be decimated, and this is going to be a GG. An Innovation reigns supreme. Goes on to next month as the reigning king of the hill.
How appropriate. He surfaces as the clear, you know, he's got 2 or 3, I think it's a 2-game lead now over Nurcio, defeating Nurcio.
Indeed.
And then he gets to start it off. So my next, and you know, this is my wish list, but he's got the 10-game win streak. what is he at now? Like 4, and you continue that, right? You'll count that for next one, the win streak.
Oh yes, absolutely. Streak carries over. Everything carries over to next month. It's a never-ending tournament, essentially. We're just having to play 20 maps per month. And Innovation will continue with that. You know, that's already 4. There's not that many 4-win streaks. You know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but beating 4 separate opponents in best of 1 is actually really hard.
He's one of the scariest kings I've seen carry over, too, because a lot of times towards the end, I've seen, we've seen some pretty silly games, and it's, I mean, it was Neve to start today, so it's not like it's this thing where it's a bad player. There's no bad players, but Innovation to start off the next one, yikes. You throw Haas out there, Haas gets eaten alive. There is no Haas to Innovation. Someone has to outplay him. Yeah,
straight up. And we could see a really deep run. That's definitely worth tuning in for next month to see if Innovation is able to do that. If there's anyone in position to do it, it'll be him. I mean, hell, next time we do a tournament, the game's going to be different again. We've already seen plan changes. They're going to have another month to practice. I mean, they're going to be practicing this for a couple of weeks, and then they're going to have to adapt to whatever changes that are brought in then. So it's going to maybe be an entirely new game yet again as we go into that. But if anybody can adapt to that, if anybody can play incredibly well, it will be Innovation, as we saw today. He put on an excellent performance against really the best that the foreign scene had to offer, honestly.
Yeah. No, I thought, like I said, Ilazer played really well, and I really enjoyed that. It was just kind
of fell to pieces.
Innovation's sense. I mean, he ran Marines. They didn't even do this thing where they were queued up to go all around the perimeter. They just went straight to it, and you nailed it on the head. It was because he saw the speed overlord and just knew that he likes to do that. But it's just to do that in the middle of a game like that, it's incredible. He's so fun to watch.
Yep. He's good. He's very, very good. And he will, of course, be our reigning king for ShoutCraft December, which I'm looking forward to. Another $10,000 on the line. More players. It will be interesting to see just how far Innovation can take that. We have seen him try it before, and he didn't get that far. People get prep time.
Yeah.
But, geez.
Who can stop him?
I mean, looking at form like that, it would be tricky. There's a lot of high-quality Korean players. I think if you're going to make an argument, you could say that the players he had to deal with, if he'd been dealing with the players that turned up earlier in the tournament, that would have been harder. Simultaneously, he was also playing past midnight when he was tired and not on his own server. So there is also that to bear in mind. But it will be interesting to see, because we'll be able to bring the best that Korea has to bear on Innovation, and then we can really get an impression of just how he's playing right now. I mean, he's the reigning GSL champion, for God's sake. He's already proven he can beat the best that Korea has to offer. He's done it over and over again.
Well, I'm excited.
It's going to be good.
It's always good. We always have good games. This one was fast. Only by about an hour, though. Usually when I'm a part of this, at least, it's like about noon for me. It's just 11 a.m., so a little bit quicker. But great games.
Yeah, we will see just whether or not that is a symptom of this new update, of whether a lot of these updates are going to lead to faster games. We did have quite a lot of mirrors today, so that contributes to that. But, well, it's intriguing, nonetheless. We'll be seeing you next month, ladies and gentlemen. If you missed this event, well, I'll be doing a rerun as soon as Twitch has the VOD available. And, of course, youtube.com/TotalBiscuit is the place to find all the spoiler-free VODs. They will start to go up on Sunday. Big thanks must go out to the following people. Blizzard, of course, for funding the tournament, and to our sponsor today, Dodger Coffee Company. Click the link, type it in, shoutcraft.dodgercoffeeco.com, to have a look at some of the best craft coffee that you can get. Wonderful, unique tastes. Get yourself a sampler pack if you happen to be a coffee aficionado or you're trying to become one. This is a good place to start. You can order that from pretty much anywhere you'd like. Big thanks, of course, to yourself, Jeff, for getting up at terrible o'clock to cast with us. Big thanks to David, our statsman today, who added shout facts to our tournament. We'll hopefully be doing that more often than not. Let us know the kind of things you would like to know. We were able to use that to provide you with a lot of interesting facts about 4.0 today. Some stuff that we didn't even know, so If there are particular things that you think would be useful that we could have pulled up during tournaments, let us know. Feedback, of course, threads available on Reddit and Team Liquid, and of course you can tweet that directly to me at TotalBiscuit. And big thanks to our Korean casting team, as well as our French, Russian, and German casters, as well as Emil in Poland. And all of our players for providing us with an extremely entertaining tournament. That's us about wrapped up, folks. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been TotalBiscuit, joined by Jeff iNcontroL Robinson, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.